Their game is about to get started. I don't think they've started just yet. So maybe we have a minute. But I'm going to explain how the draft works. And then we will jump in to watch Louis versus LucifroN because they've gotten started with the draft. Whereas Demu and Kiljari are dragging their feet. So Demu's still not even sitting at his fucking chair. Okay, so we're gonna we're gonna have a look. The other thing I was looking at, if people were here to look, is I was looking at the Lashes tournament because they've had to cut some players because more than 32 signed up. But thankfully, my rating was high enough that I'm going to be in that tournament. So that starts, I think, from tomorrow, maybe? I'm not sure. But it is up anyway. Hey, Celtic, how you doing? All right, so let's explain. So basically, okay, I'll start again since I can be heard now. So the way that drafting works for all tournaments is they use this website, which is Age of Empires 2 Captain's Mode, but it works for Age of Empires 4 as well. And we actually have 3 different drafts for this tournament. We have map draft to pick all the maps for the series, civ draft, so both players pick their civilizations, and a third one, which is for each map, which is a sniping system. You both put forward 2 civilizations, and then you snipe away one from your opponent, and then that means that you play the civ that wasn't sniped. Alright, so looking at maps here, basically there's a map pool at the bottom, and we're going to get 5 maps out of it. And we can see along the top how that works. Each player bans 1 each, so the first ban was Mountain Clearing, and then the other player, Louis, banned 4 lakes. Then you pick 1 each, so in this case, Boardlands, and then Lipany, ban another one, Kawasan Lakeside, and then pick 1 more each. And the last pick there at the bottom, Gorge, is going to be the first map played, and it's also a random pick from the maps that are left in the map pool. So that's your maps. So it's going to be Gorge, and then how you decide the maps after the first game is that loser picks. Of these 4, the loser picks which one they want. And it doesn't have to be their chosen map, it can be any of the 4. Moving on from there, this is where things look a little bit more confusing, but it's actually not too bad. And I'll try to explain it pretty succinctly. But basically, you do 2 civ bans each, which then get revealed. And then you pick a civ each, ban a third civ, and then you go picking turn by turn. So to start with, you'll ban 1 each. So in this case, LucifroN banned Macedonian for his opponent. So they're not global bans. If you ban that Macedonian from your opponent, you can later pick Macedonian, which is what LucifroN has done here. And then vice versa, Louis has banned Byzantine for LucifroN and then been able to pick Byzantine himself. So we've got those 4 bans there, which is those Macedonian, Malian, LucifroN banned away from Louis, and Louis banned Byzantine and Ottoman away from LucifroN. Those get revealed, then you first pick a civ each, so French and Golden Horde were the first picks from LucifroN and Louis respectively. Then another civ gets banned, so sort of, you can get one of those strong picks through, but then another one gets banned, in this case Mali and Ottoman, so doing an inverse of each other's picks, each other's bans, and then you sort of go and you pick through, and it does like a 1 2 2 2 2 1 at the end. And that's it. So then every time you go into a map, you put forward 2 of these civilizations. This is our first example. 2 of the civilizations that you picked, which goes 1 2 1, and then you both snipe away, and that's revealed at the end. So blind snipes. Oh, you can choose out of the civilizations. You can see all the civilizations, but you ban which one, and it gets revealed at the same time. So in this case, LucifroN said you're not playing Jeanne d'Arc, you have to play Golden Horde, and Louis said you're not playing French, you have to play China. Hopefully that explains how it works. I'm so sorry if it didn't. But at least you can hear me now, because when I started, you couldn't hear a fucking thing. And thank you, AoE4 Jesu, for helping me with that as well. All right, let's go jump into, because they must be in game by now. No, they're not in game yet. I guess they just drafted early. Celtic, you know who was in that tournament? Are you saying that as in, like, there's a name in that tournament that you're like, yo, or are you saying it like, hey, do you know who's in the tournament? Lash is in it? Oh, no, just curious. Curious? Curious. We can have a look. We got a little bit of time before they get started. See if we recognize any of these names. Cal, obviously, we all love him. Practiced against him yesterday. Taluk is a name, I don't know how you pronounce it, but he's good. Morsey, we know him apparently. He's a coach for us. Awesome. Taluk's a good player. Ego Waffles I've played against. I'm not sure what he's ranked, but he's good. Knock Knock I've lost to before. Boosin Lily I've won and lost against. Trekor is a name that rings a bell, but I can't remember anything. Tiger's good. Tiger's beaten the shit out of me a number of times. Bro, a Jim selfie is your profile picture. That's sick. Gento's in there, of course. Kemi Nodal, why does this ring a bell? Maybe I'm wrong. Unfal, he's been really up there actually. Good player. Isra, that rings a bell. Lock, of course, he's good. And I don't recognize the rest. So some really good players in there, to be honest. I don't think I make it out of my group. Can we see groups now actually, or does it might just populate groups once we get in. Once like chickens and stuff happen. These might be wrong, or they might be right. I don't know. How do I see what I'm in? Does this tell me? Bracket 4. I'm against Isra first up. Okay, so my group is Tiger, Isra, Flotter, Otto, Ego, Waffles, Hero Baller, Morzy. I got Morzy, there you go. And Cyan. It's Swiss group, so you don't play against everyone. You play 3 matches. And I start against Isra. And I've got to play by the 6th. The night of the 6th. Okay. So Tiger's certainly favored to get out of this group. Okay, let's go have a look to see if we're in. Are they not allowed to start early? Are they just drafting for drafting's sake? Fuck, I thought they were going to go straight in, because last week they all started early. And I was like, ah, shit. I gotta get online. Alright, I'll deal with that Lash stuff later. Let's have a look at EGC. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, Lucy's online, but not in. And I didn't send the request to Louis. I'll do it later. I spam the players with friend requests so I can easily see their names, so I can easily get into the games. Alright, bear with a little bit then. I'm sure they'll start right on the time then. That's a shame. I thought they were gonna go straight in. That's just our boy Porygon. Maybe if I take off all the things. Actually, it'll definitely be modded. I can do this. Bum, 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 bum. Nope. Okay, we wait. Sorry, team, we wait. But at least they have drafted. Well, let's have a look at the draft itself then, and let's get a feel for it. The first game, though, is going to be on Gorge, and it's going to be Golden Horde against China, which I actually think... I've thought this has been Golden Horde favored, but then I've seen HRE beat Golden Horde on this map twice. Corvinus over Beastie, and then... Oh my gosh, who was the other one? It was another upset. Wasn't it Gully over Marine Lord? I think? Which is kind of crazy. Both those matchups. So either HRE is busted, or maybe Golden Horde's a little bit overrated on this map. And I think into China as well, it's a bit rough. He Burger Rush Marine Lord in 1. Yeah, it was the same thing with Corvinus's game against Beastie. But they didn't, it wasn't like it was a super cheesy, like, greeted one. Like, they still played, like, some feudal, like, you know, played responsibly. And then found the timing to get the castle and go, which I think is really tough against Golden Horde. The map here is going to be Gorge, just like it was in both of those games we're talking about. So it's going to be Gorge first up, and it's going to be Chinese versus Golden Horde. Louis on Golden Horde, though, is like cracked. I think Louis' Golden Horde, at least when the Civ was new, was by far the best. Both China and Golden Horde are good on this. I mean, China can do their pro scouts feudal play, and then try to get a castle timing to go win pretty comfortably. Like, it's pretty easy to sort of defend up your map and then go and get the resources. Golden Horde, if they get a good spawn, you can just go out onto the deer pack that's kind of closest to your opponent. So you've got it kind of got their like forward operating base. Set up your fortified outpost and your production buildings there. and then you're looking to aggress onto the Chinese player, deny pro scouts, and deny gold, and not let them get that good castle timing. The problem is against China is if they do get all that food in, it's really easy for them to just mass a shit ton of units. But Golden Horde's army will be stronger in the feudal age if they have the superior numbers. So whether Golden Horde can mess up enough units to do damage or to overwhelm China early on, I think is probably the biggest call. I think it can be really decided in these early stages, and we do have the game start, or the not game started, but the game is started, but we'll have an observer delay. So I'll boot it up, but we've got to wait 5 minutes to get in. The other thing worth noting with these picks is that they are high priority picks for both players. So LucifroN, well, actually second picked China. So French, China, and Sengoku. And then Golden Horde was Louis' first pick. So looking to get off at with a big start. These are best of fives. So when you do lose a first game like this, even though there's still plenty of series to go, losing your strongest pick, or one of your strongest picks, I guess I should say, in LucifroN's case, is really tough. A really tough one to lose. So the other maps in the pool as well, worth noting that there's no water. So both Four Lakes and Lakeside were banned out from Louis, and Kawasan was banned out from LucifroN. So we're going to get pure... Don't be confused by Coastal Cliffs, by the way. There's water on the side, but that's completely blocked off. It is just a condensed land map. Less width. And then Lipany, Dry Arabia, and sort of Borderlands are about as straightforward of land maps as you can get, which makes for a pretty exciting set, actually. Two players that like to play aggressively and like to get into each other's faces. Is there anything else particularly interesting from... Well, there's no Jin. That's my first thing I noticed with this draft, unfortunately. We've still got 3 minutes before we jump in, by the way. LucifroN has also been really rating House of Lancaster. He's actually picked it a number of times. He picked it in all of his sets, or at least 2 of his sets last week. Really believes in it, that 2TC House of Lancaster style. We also saw a player, I can't remember who it was, that played 1TC. Maybe it was LucifroN, I can't recall. But played a 1TC aggression. It actually went pretty well. I think maybe it was against MSN. Which was, yeah, not a bad go of it either. Each player got one of the French serves. I think Louis is still very, very strong on JD, even though both these players, I think, rate her less so than French. And most players rate JD less than French, even though she is very, very strong. Delhi coming through for LucifroN, which is a nice one, but a last pick, which is interesting. We don't often see this one getting picked, but a lot of people have been rating it a lot higher, actually. And I'm not sure whether that's the Tower Victory buffs or not, because I haven't actually been seeing it getting played. But I can't remember again who the player was, but someone was sniping it every single game last week. So that's another one to keep an eye out for. Ban-wise, it's not too surprising. The only thing that's a little bit surprising is that LucifroN banned away Macedonian as his first ban. But Ottomans and Mali and even Byzantine have been the 3 which have been getting rid of most commonly. French and Golden Horde are the other 2 in there. And the likes of Macedonian normally, and China have been getting through, but still really strong picks. Jushi's also seen such priority recently as well. Can be played on hybrid, although there's none of those maps here. But that feudal aggression, all of the units you get, is just so, so dangerous. And even if you're not all-inning and killing, then the aggression into the castle timing is still very strong. Ayubit is similar. Ayubit and Sengoku are similar, where they're also like really strong picks or like high priorities. They're never going to make their way into the ban situation, but still have so much strength or power or priorities behind them that see them getting picked so commonly. And then we have sort of the lost civs that have had their time in the sun, but not so much anymore in Japanese, Delhi to an extent. And then Roos and Ab are interesting picks from Louis. But I think he's good on both these civs, actually. Can play both very aggressively as well, which is interesting. All right, we've got 30 seconds, so we'll cut in. This is the draft. And as a reminder, yeah, it is Jeanne d'Arc was sniped out for Louis, interestingly. So Golden Horde is going to be the one. And then French sniped out in favor of Chinese. Let's get into it, eh? Ooh la la, game 1. So last week, talking about the players, both these players probably didn't have the greatest performances of their lives. Louis was losing some games and sets, which he probably wouldn't have expected to. All right, let's get into it. But that's not to say that's going to be the case here. All right, our first game in our first best of 5. Probably the only best of 5 I'm going to be covering today. Unfortunately, I do have to go earlier rather than later today. But let's not worry about that. Let's get into the games. Spawning in the bottom left on Chinese, in the color yellow, is LucifroN. And in the top right, in the teal, on the Golden Horde, it is loueMT. I said it before, I really do feel like Louis was one of the initial innovators of Golden Horde, one of the strongest players and one of the players that pros really turn to for how to play the Civ the best. It kind of became the case that the way that he innovated has just kind of been the way that it gets played standardly now. Looking at spawns as well, it's kind of a great and bad spawn for Louis in this sense. Having all of the food, well, deer and boar next to each other is great for you. You can set this up as your sort of fortified outpost operating base, but it's not towards your opponent, which normally you never want your food to be towards your opponent, but on this map, and with this Civ, sometimes that actually is a bonus. And then interestingly as well, speaking of close foods, it's not the deer and the boar, but both deer packs are up here for LucifroN. Which means, if we have a look at his vision, no, he's not gone that way first, he's gone the other way. But if he sees this, one of the things that you can do as China is, instead of going for that pro scouts, you can go for an early Song Dynasty and set up a barbican, which will protect both of these packs of deer and allow you to just go out onto the map and gather instead. Which can feel a lot nicer, as that pro scouts upgrade is very expensive. And not quite as enticing as it used to be. And we've also seen more commonly as well, players on China not just default into Pro Scouts, but rather look to go for it when they feel it is the best for that matchup. Golden Tent coming out in the front. Seen a lot of players do this. I don't understand why. Is it just to get their like little bit of extra or less distance to get the Khan and targets out quickly? I mean, it makes some sense, and I guess you can't really, like, deny it or anything. Does it give a lot of vision or anything? Does it do anything? No, not really. It doesn't. It's just a case that having it in the front is a production building, I guess. And we see, yeah. So Louis pulling off the gold. This is something you commonly see, but it's still very clever little technique. Is sending 1 or 2 sheep over to the gold, so that when those gold workers have got their enough for the age up, there's nothing else that you're going to want on for gold for a while. So you can prioritize the food and the wood. Sometimes if this was also against the wood, you might go for that as well. But a nice little efficiency that Louis is really good with his build orders. Last week, it didn't necessarily translate into as many wins as he would have wanted. But that competitive aspect of the game, whether you're practicing well or not, there's nothing quite like playing tournament games. And you can't really fault him for having a slower start. Let's have a look now to see on LucifroN's build order whether we're going to get that Pro Scouts. Being out on gold seems to suggest that it is likely to be the case, but it could also be that Barbican as well. Both are options, but if you were going for a non-Pro Scouts normal build, you normally won't stick around on that gold. You just get enough, the extra 35 to start making Imperial Officials, and then the Imperial Officials can get you that gold in taxes, which is a nice little eco boost. Or eco-efficiency for China as well. So both our players and both these civilizations having their little quirks, the little nice-to-haves. Khan and Torgood's coming out for Louis. Yeah, nothing too crazy there. Why were these guys just running away? Nothing too crazy here, and it is going to be a move out onto the deer already. As LucifroN's going to try to pull the ball all the way over. It might be a little bit too far, especially if Louis pulls away, and yeah, it is going to go home, so maybe not quite, but if he does bring it to here, it would aggro at least. But it looks like this is going to be the position that Louis is going to set up. Yep, fortified outpost coming down already, and the Gur is going to follow. So it is going to be that position on the deer pack. And this boar is here. It's gone off the minimap due to that pull, which is an annoying little bug. But that boar is still there and alive, and Louis will be able to pick that up after that deer as well, which is nice position and start for him. Second Uvu's coming up right away. there's nothing really too different that Golden Horde players do, to be honest, these days. The openings are very much the same with Khan and Torgoods, Khan coming out, and then the 2 Uvus, and then setting up your production at a fortify outpost, usually on the deer. It's not really a civ that can fast castle because of how slow it takes, how long it takes to get that. And it's also not really a civ that 2TCs all too often. Although I've seen players experimenting with Golden Horde 2TC. And we're not going to see the Song Dynasty from LucifroN. That is going to be the Pro Scouts. So we are, and the stable's up already. So we are going to see them just be collected in those deer on the side. But this gives a chance here for Louis. He will know with those villagers being on gold that it is most likely Pro Scouts. And it could be the Barbican, but if he was going to go for the Barbican, he would have needed to rush it so he could get it up before the Khan arrives. And that's not the case. And yep, there's confirmation that it's already in. Thanks to that supervision on the mill, it means that that comes in really, really fast. Nice little juke there to go pick that up. Nice micro from LucifroN, actually. He's renowned for his micro, and it's showing. There's a lot of quality of life that got added with professional scouts, but the thing that is not easy at all is the dropping and picking up and shift queuing again of the deer. You do have to press E, click the ground, move away, come back and click on the deer. Luckily, you just have to right-click it again, so he goes back, but then if you did have your shift queues set up for all the other deer, you have to go and add them in again. So it's not super easy. We turn to what the production is out of Louis. It is going to be, yep, the archery range and the barracks straight away, which kind of gives Golden Horde this pseudo 1-1-1 composition, which is really, really nice, where you've got the Torgood coming out of Golden Tent with the Khan, of course. Here they are. And then you have the Spearman and Karash coming out of the barracks, and then you can spam archers out of the archery range. So it gives you a nice 1-1-1 composition that's really tough to deal with in the early feudal age. And then also it scales so nicely as you can get into a really big death ball that is tough for any 2-unit comp to deal with. Plus with Karash and Khan Arrow, and of course when your blacksmith upgrades come in as well, it means a really strong army as well. So you're not only fighting a lot of units, but you're fighting a strong army as well. Very difficult to fight Golden Horde. Some players we've seen, particularly at Homestead Cup, try to just rush castle to not have to deal with them in feudal age, as the downside of Golden Horde is that their unit scaling is great, but their ability to go castle quickly is not. But for China and for Golden Horde in this game, we're getting real standard builds. Pro Scouts out of LucifroN, which is pretty successful so far, but it's going to become a lot more difficult as the units do arrive. This not being in the front is kind of what I was talking about before. If this was like up here, these units would be getting here that bit faster. But it is a double-edged sword having both of your deer packs here, because if LucifroN can secure it, he gets everything. But if Louis can deny it, LucifroN gets nothing. In this case, getting the whole first pack in is already a nice little win, but it's going to have to be a scrap to get the second one. Horsemen are on the field there for LucifroN actually, so putting that stable to further use. Still has all 4 scouts. Not turned to like go down here or over here to get anything as well. But the horsemen are looking basically to be those counter aggressors to go raid. But actually there's not very much that's sort of raidable out of Louis at the minute. He's going to run out of his sheep soon enough. He's only got 8 carcasses, 1 alive so far, which makes things a bit difficult. Army coming in on the gold mine for now, which might be LucifroN's little trick to go get the deer. But there is 1 spearman there dealing with it. LucifroN taking a little feign of aggression there. The spear will be able to deal with him because of the slowness carrying those deer carcasses. And yeah, actually, LucifroN gets away with 1, but otherwise does have to let them go. Still has all these scouts, though. I only see 3. No, 2 of them go away as well. Kills that spear, and another 2 are going to try to make their way home. If he is able to sneak 2, no, he has to drop this one for sure. This one might get home. Sneaks 1 out of all that, but has brought, well, at least 3 closer to home and might get those in as well. Louis not wanting to commit, actually. I feel like he might have a stronger army here, but is worried about committing, wants the extra units to come in. It looks like LucifroN's doing a good job of getting a lot of this food in. But he has his gold completely denied. So Louis can feel comfortable that timing-wise, he's fine. There's no threat of LucifroN sneaking a castle behind all this food. This food has to get turned into units. And his Golden Horde with all of these, the heavy cav, and all of these units with the extra stats from Karash, and of course the huge amounts of production that you get. And we have actually added the stables in, and we're going to get Keshiks as well. So it's going to be literally everything that Golden Horde can get in the feudal age is going to be coming through. The only thing we haven't got yet, that scale looks like it will get away, is the blacksmith, which I'm sure is next on the list. There it is, coming up for Louis already. So he's got everything, and his macro is looking really nice as well. So everything coming through from Louis makes it very scary for LucifroN without any gold to find a way out of this, even if he does get a lot of these deer back. You're going to have a lot of food, a lot to play with, but you're not going to have much of an army. And it is going to be a clash here. But the Torgut on the front are fighting the horsemen. The spearmen then struggling to get around to kill the Torgut. Archers of Louis are firing onto, or it was onto the horseman there, but it's now onto the spears. There's so many units here for LucifroN then, and I think those Torguts are going to far too quickly. Even with Khan Arrow for a bit of damage, it's not enough, and Louis is overstayed as well, which means all of these Chinese, picks off the Khan, all these Chinese units are running over. The Torgut are tanky, but they're not tanky against spears, which they were tanking, and they don't do any damage themselves. So unless they are just taking the front, so your DPS, your archers, and your own spearmen can get in there, or Keshiks as well, can get in there and do a lot of damage onto the back line of LucifroN, you are going to slowly lose the fight. And actually, that was a lot more one-sided than I thought so. And yeah, Billy, I think you're 100% right there. +1/+1 ranged upgrades for LucifroN, but nothing yet in for Louis. Greggy, thanks for following, mate. Meaning that fight went even worse for Louis than I think he anticipated. And it's not, I don't think it's necessarily the case that he timed this badly with getting the blacksmith. I think he was doing well. It was just taking the fight. And I don't think Louis necessarily had to take that fight, but he felt it was going to go his way. He felt he had something in the tank there. And Golden Horde, generally speaking, into these engagements in equal numbers are going to come out on top due to those strong units and those extra buffs with the Karash and the Khan. But +1 ranged attack is and range defense are the all-important upgrades there. And the archers just weren't killing enough of LucifroN. And with this, you take the military lead, take a huge fight, gets back on gold with 1 million villagers, and already, before we even get to speak about it, his Castle Age landmark is halfway up. And this is like the worst position possible as for Golden Horde. When you take a bad fight like this, you feel like you've got to make some units yourself. Or if you're going to greed and not make units yourself, you want to get Castle Age. Okay, you've got to re-macro everything. And then even once you get your macro back to food and gold, it takes you so long. It's a minute 50 to get Castle Age. Yeah, a minute 50 to get Castle Age. There's no way of speeding that up. The only thing slower, I think, is the Ubid Castle Age timing, which is really rough. So not the best position. As Golden Horde, this just kind of feels like you slowly die. And China, a civilization that just scales so strongly as well. Throughout the feudal age, but once you get into the Castle Age, you start talking about relics. Ooh, but LucifroN in the front as well picks off 3 villages there at the front. And these berries having to be here is the worst case scenario. There's still an army, a sizable army for Louis, but not too much in the way of damage for him to deal. He's going to try to pick up on these archers and get them down. But the archers, Castle Age archers actually do so well into Keshiks and Torgut. These extra archers coming on top. I think Louis is just going to take the fight, and if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And he is going to commit to it. No, he's going to try moving back now. The buff coming in, which is the Khan extra damage. 10% there from the feudal age. But all these archers are going down. And Castle Age archers just destroy everything in feudal age. Everything is going down. Torguts and Khan and Keshik don't even stand up against them. Not to mention, there's 4 Lancers in the mix here and more Lancers on the field. Pro Scouts going and getting the second dare pack, I assume. Which makes things all the worse for poor old loueMT. One big fight that he took was all it took to turn this. LucifroN did a great job microing around those scouts and getting in those pro scouts without having to commit too much. Another couple villages go down. Louis not even looking at getting castle behind us as well, making archers feeling like he's got to get rid of their archer count as well. Torgut and Keshik relying on them to fight up against the Keshik count. A few spears coming in, but you're going to need a lot more to deal with all this. Still looking to take the fight in the front as well. There's no TC arrow fire or anything in here. It's just the completely ungarrisoned. And all the rest of these units are going to go down. And yeah, it is going to be GG. LucifroN takes it 1-0. And again, we see Golden Horde lose out on Gorge. I mean, in a game where you thought if they had, if anything, more of a disadvantage than some of the previous games we've seen Golden Horde lose on this map, I would love to see the overall stats. But honestly, it all turned on that fight. If we look at resources gathered to see how bad it was, though, let's look at the fight time. Stop skipping through game. This is about 10 minutes-ish where everything turned. But if we look at the equivalent timing, LucifroN is already super far ahead in resources. And a big part of that is China, but a big part of that was the success getting all those deer back. And it's just the speed of Golden Horde to get across. And I think having that production in the back didn't help him either. I understand why Louis did it. I think it's probably still the right choice with that spawn. But that does not make things easy. And it does go over to LucifroN. A very like sort of standard game one out of our two players. I don't think there is anything too different out of, you know, style, build order, anything really. But China comes out on top. So let's have a look at, we aren't going to know what the map is, but we can go and have a look at what the civs are. And for our game 2, it is going to be LucifroN on Macedonian. French getting sniped out again by Louis. And it's going to be Jushi's Legacy with Rus being sniped out by LucifroN. So Louis is going to be on Jushi into Macedonian, which is an interesting one. So what were our maps then? We've got Lipany, Coastal Cliffs, Borderland, and Dry Arabia. So perhaps this is a, excuse me, a Lipany game. We'll see what we get into. But it is going to be, nope, not this one. Nope, not that one. Macedonian and Jushi. Let's go see if they're in. They are in. It's going, nope. I hadn't refreshed. They are. It's going to be Coastal Cliffs. Coastal Cliffs. Positive OX, thank you for following. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Alright, let's jump into this one. As I think, we have a little bit of observer delay, but I think we're going to be straight into the action, to be honest with you. 45 seconds. Alright. I'm going to guess which side LucifroN's on. I think he's on the left. And we're going to be 1-0 up. Going into Coastal Cliffs. So Coastal Cliffs, it does not have water, even though it looks like it does. It is fully cliffed off, if you will. So it's just a very narrow map. But everything else about it is relatively standard, except that your stone is far away and your gold is not under your TC. So you're a bit more exposed as well. So hopefully this leads us to a bit of aggression. And that's why Jushi makes a lot of sense to me. But I think Rus is probably quite dangerous as well with their walls and ability to sort of build into perhaps siege as well. Maybe I don't quite understand that one actually. All right, let's go have a look. And it is going to be LucifroN on the right. So I was wrong. Bear with. Alrighty, okay. Game 2 of this best of 5. LucifroN is up 1-0. And it is LucifroN spawning on the right-hand side of the map in the color yellow on Macedonian. And in the bottom left, we have on Jushi's Legacy. In the teal or cyan or whatever you want to call it, it is loueMT. So probably the most cookie-cutter first game we could have had. But I don't think we're going to get quite the same out of these two civs or this map. Coastal Cliffs it is. Again, this water is not real at all. You cannot get that far, and Averly just added these deep sea fish to fuck with us all. It really is just a standard land map, which is a lot narrower. So the things to know about this map is a lot of your resources aren't as safe. You see the gold far away and the stone even further. So going out onto the hunt is definitely like a preference or a priority. Securing yourself up. There are 2 boars. It's not like you're fighting over 1 boar in the middle. But of course, Macedonian can't go onto that. And this one is also quite far away. And not something you're going to see a China or Jushi player go for right away. But interestingly, LucifroN does go out onto the deer and is going to get himself survivor techniques right off the bat. And it is going to be Louis going for a more typical start with that nice safe mill and all the sheep around it, and start bringing in those taxes. And it is the village start rather than opting to skip that, as we do sometimes see with China and Jushi players. But I think most of the time we see that early village added in. LucifroN is a player that likes to go for his early eco when he can. He does this a lot on French and JD as well, even into more aggressive or difficult matchups, for better or for worse. Likes to get that early eco. And I think against Jushi, this does seem like a pretty smart idea. What we've seen out of Jushi most commonly, and I've not experimented much with them myself, but basically the Jiangnan Tower creating this extra wave of feudal age units into such overwhelming feudal aggression is a really difficult thing to deal with. And on such a narrow map as we're dealing with here, it means it's even easier for their infantry army to go across the base and cause havoc. Not to mention, you've got all these exposed resources, which means it's very difficult to be defensive or turtle. So getting out onto this there early is going to secure it up nice and early. Hopefully gather that all up before the timings come in. There's also the option, of course, of going for professional scouts as Jushi, as they often did previously. I'm not sure whether that is something that is still going to be prioritized in a situation like this or not. Time will tell. But it is going to be aggression, I'm sure. Although, interestingly, it's just the one build that's going to go up with Jiangnan Tower, which tells me this isn't going to be Song Dynasty, right? Surely not. We'll wait and see what this is going to be and whether it is actually just going to be that aggression. Of course, it is going to be the Imperial Hippodrome coming out of Macedonian. Nothing too crazy. Something we do see a bit crazy out of Macedonia, of course, if people have been playing ladder at all in the last couple of weeks, is that fast Imp Macedonian build. I don't think we're going to see that in this situation. If there's any civ not to do it against, it's probably Jushi's Legacy. The idea of trying to get a sneaky fast castle with that Golden Horn Tower feels nigh impossible against the aggression that this civilization can put out. That said, even if you're not going fast Imperial, the threat of that playstyle, getting up, getting that Palatine School, getting it onto your gold and your stones to just get keeps and get silver and make those cataphracts, and then potentially even going in and making those flaming springolds is a really difficult prospect. But games with Jushi don't necessarily go that long. They can get won or lost pretty early with the aggression that comes in, and it is going to be the stable that's first up. So not opting for a barracks to deal with the Hippodrome horsemen they're going to come across, but it is going to be a horseman of his own coming out first for Louis. One thing seen a lot of from these Chinese players, not them all in the same boat, but sort of innovating within their own bubble and meta, is a huge preference into a lot of horsemen early. I'm not convinced this is going to be the case here, but a lot of horsemen early in the feudal age should put a lot of pressure on, whether that's securing a castle age behind it or just forcing a lot out of your opponent. LucifroN sees this and he's going straight into that tower, power building it up with 5, and he will get that up before that horseman arrives. It's a barracks behind it from Louis, so we're going to see that horseman spear, and there's going to be a lot of spears coming out right away. Do we have a Varangian stronghold coming up? No, the arsenal is going to come out first to get that silver coming in from Louis, but nothing else from LucifroN, nothing else being created off the bat. It is just those first 2 horsemen being made, nothing more at the minute. And as a result of these army compositions, there's not really much fighting that they're going to be able to do. All just posturing. But there's a lot of wood here for LucifroN, so plenty of ability to get on to things. And actually, we are going to go into stone. And this is looking to get some stone, presumably for emplacements. So we might see LucifroN try to get up. Or he's just more worried about his... No, it is going to be for the arrow. It's going to be for the arrow and the strongholds, of course. So it's not a full defensive play. Just a sort of smart one. Building that Varangian stronghold out on there means there's an extra arrow on top of that garrison slots from the tower. And of course, every future Varangian stronghold that LucifroN makes will also get that arrow slot, which is really nice, and you can sort of build them all around your base for a lot of safety, and particularly into squishier units like Spearmen, like Shuganu, it actually does a lot of damage to deal with those. This upgrade here, Stronghold Defensive Arrow Slits, which is just coming in now. Very nice defensive upgrade. But still not a lot of commitment here from LucifroN as to what he's looking for. Whereas if we turn to Louis, it's pretty straightforward. We got the early horseman, but not to promote anything other than just getting that first spearman in. It is going to be otherwise pumping out spearmen and Shuganu of his own. And that's what we've seen the most of from Jushi. Sometimes Palace Guard in there as well against civs that don't go knights, but you can always switch to them whenever you want. As ooh, that's a nice little micro there from LucifroN, taking the champion scout to tank the charge of those spearmen means that is going to heal up that scout, but the rest of those horsemen would not, and they are going to then be able to run through unscathed until the spearman gets in the way. Just gets one hit, I think, on the scout, which is not that big of a deal. But if LucifroN stays too much, yeah, he loses the normal scout amongst all that. But it's just a 1-for-1, which is not too bad for LucifroN because, of course, he's got that Hippodrome Scout, that champion, which is reproducible, retrainable. So he's not going to feel too lost about that, too fussed about that. There's going to be the Spearman upgrade coming in. I can't pronounce what they're called. Atgemadu, something like that. We are also at the time where, as we've got all these buildings being created in each unit, each time you make a building around the Jungling Tower, and each time you make a unit out of those buildings around the Jungling Tower, this little loop will fill. And then once it does, you pump out one of these armies. And as we're going to see, yep, it comes out. It's not rallied anywhere, but we do have all those units come out. 4 spearmen and 3 horsemen, which is a lot of units to get out. So we've got 30 to 9 military lead already, as LucifroN has only really not made anything at all. He's made a handful, 4 archers, 2 more in the queue, but otherwise not really made anything. Just running around the map with these horsemen trying to delay the aggression from Louis. But with that army coming through from the Jungling Tower, you can delay no longer. It is coming. Do we have a blacksmith for Louis? Whoops. Looking away at the worst possible moment, as those horsemen are getting caught a little bit. If he loses them, it's actually huge. One goes down. Louis might retarget onto the low one. No, pulls back, but there's not very much danger that those cause, and the reinforcements can always come back here as well. We don't have a blacksmith, so we're not going to have +1 ranged defense to be able to dive in here too easily. But actually, it looks like LucifroN's just given it up anyway. He's really worried about that. And how many? We have 9 sheep, including 4 of those as carcasses, which is not a lot of food. His berries are in the front of his base. And his age up is going to come in shortly, but where is he going to be able to put it? Putting it out onto the map, if it gets seen by Louis, could be GG in the blink of an eye, and he's going to build it as safe as possible. Golden Horn Tower right on the back of the base. This feels awful as Macedonian. It's very much out of necessity. If you can secure up your second gold, it feels great. If you can secure up further food, it feels great. Building it back here as you're one of the strongest defensive landmarks. Yeah. Doesn't feel good, but it's a necessity to stay alive. These units here, even without the upgrades, actually range defense is now coming in, which will really help against the ability to dive and of course the ability to get onto these strongholds. But I mean, that upgrade really does nothing, those arrow slits here, as yeah, it just basically does nothing. We're going to kill 1 horseman maybe, and then maybe do some damage to another unit, but it's not. This looks weird how they're targeting it down here, by the way. LucifroN trying to get in on the other side. No build kills though, and is going to lose a horseman for his troubles, as that dare pack gets completely neutralized. But of course, LucifroN pulled away from that much earlier. Now, okay, we're into the castle edge. We've got the crossbows coming up for free, and now we have the Ridari getting trained. Champion Ridari pops out at the same time, and we have 1 more ranking stronghold protecting our gold. Really nice. But especially losing one of those strongholds, those cost 200 wood. That's a huge investment. And when you get that early castle age, you are absolutely penny pinching everything you have. So only a lot of wood in the bank here from LucifroN. And again, if we check on his food, 2 sheep carcasses, or 4 sheep carcasses, and 1 herdable sheep. That is not looking good. But the Ridari will be able to push back the horsemen. This is still such a huge mass. But Louis doesn't want to overcommit. He doesn't want to dive this. He definitely can't dive the Golden Horn. As long as he's denying food, he's kind of okay. And he's going to go castle age himself. But it's going to be, I think, a case of if LucifroN can secure up any of his food, whether it's down here or on this side. Jesu, thank you, mate. Thank you for following. Lost mini game like this, I don't see how LucifroN brings back. Oh, LucifroN brings it back. I mean, these are the guys, the pros for a reason, man. Patrick, how you doing, mate? How you doing? But which one's your second favorite player? LucifroN or Louis? I love both these guys, man. Alright, Mount Luke coming in. I did want to watch Demu kill Jardy, but that was taking too long. LucifroN second favorite? Fair enough, mate. LucifroN and Vortex were my favorite coming into AoE 4 from Warcraft and StarCraft. Mainly StarCraft 2, just because they're so aggressive. And Louis, I love how he plays as well. Nice, clean macro player that can just overwhelm you. Especially when Louis plays like Marley, and that's my favorite to watch, to be honest. Even though I hate Marley as a Civ. But that's not even close to the situation here. He's playing very safe though here, Louis. Obviously getting his age up in, getting his upgrades in, securing himself up. And there's not going to be a lot of damage that LucifroN can do, but this does give him the ability to get out on food. And I do wonder if Louis is maybe feeling a little bit tentative after that first game, or perhaps even after last week, worried about his results, and maybe not feeling as confident as he did before he sort of went on his break. Because he didn't want to commit to containing LucifroN. He had no food anywhere. It was only this food here, these berries, and down here, the only places that LucifroN could have gone. But Louis not really respecting the ability of the Radari and the units, I guess, full stop. Even the archers and the crossbows of Macedonian. Respecting it enough that he let him get out. Oh, he's not going to kill that in time. No, he's going to pull away. Yeah, Louis letting LucifroN get out, get onto food. But it's still not where he wants to be economically. 5 villages out here. Which are garrisoned for now, but they will be okay. And it is going to be the mass of Louis, which is coming in on the front side. We do have the arrow slits in for here, dealing with the scout, but there's not that much. And actually, LucifroN reacting a little bit late, unlike him, is going to get 1 Vil kill, and actually 2 of those were archers that go down, not Vils. So actually, it is only 1. Nope. Catch down the delay. 2 Vils do go down. And actually, killing the Varangian strongholds is actually really big. These things cost 200 wood, and LucifroN is struggling for money and struggling for food. There is action happening down here as well as, nope, not getting much done down there, but yikers. Not being able to get anything going in the food department. Whereas Louis, he's still out on those deer, which is nice. Has he got anywhere else yet? No, just on the berries, adding more production, of course, as we are going to now move things over to get, yep, ooh, crossbowman and grenadier is going to be the case of the next army that comes out, which is very soon. Very, very soon. Actually, I didn't realize you get the little icon at the top. I only just noticed that now. That's really cool. Coming through, but it is still such a big army of Louis, and I think whether it's confidence or whether he feels like it's just a matter of playing the safest he can, and not disrespecting LucifroN, but just believing in his ability to contain, even if LucifroN gets a little bit more than he had before. Louis is going to be able to take his lead and run with it. First matchup, yeah, China and Golden Horde on Gorge, yeah, and China of LucifroN did take it out. Basically, got his pro scouts in, took one big fight with upgrades, with ranged upgrades. Louis did not have his ranged upgrades, and we saw an equal-sized Golden Horde army crumble to a Chinese army, which I was surprised to see, but it made sense with the upgrade disadvantage. What did you think about Marine Lord StarCraft 2? Yeah, I thought Marine Lord was really good. It was always I always liked players that, like Terran players, because I was a Terran player myself. I've got the Terran tattoo on my arm as well. No kills in there, but there were 2 more picked up here. So I liked a lot of the Terran players. And anyone that was good at Marine, Marauder, Medivac, Micro were my favorites. And people that played aggressively. I don't want to see people taking fucking 4 bases, but is what it is. I was an old head in StarCraft as well. I played Wings of Liberty and just the start of Heart of the Swarm, and then I really just only watched it rather than playing. Didn't actually end up killing this Varangian stronghold, and it's just a little bit of aggression coming in here, but we are at 6 villager kills, and the eco is kind of getting out of control. Macedonian, not renowned for the eco. Z1ZE1, thanks for following, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, eco kind of getting out of control here for Louis, but he's not in a rush. He can contain. The thing about Coastal Cliffs as well is it's a lot easier to contain with a huge infantry mass, and it's really tough for LucifroN to be able to sneak anything. There's kind of, like I've said a couple times actually, there's only 2 places that Lucy can go. Out here, which is basically dried up, or down here. And if he goes farms, he's dead. So he has to try to make this work. He's got no Golden Horde Tower to protect himself. He's got no eco to produce a huge army. He's just got to rely on the strength of these units and taking a straight up fight. But the thing about this Jushi army is with all these crossbows and Chuganu with a spearman force in the front, and actually one grenadier in there from the army as well, from the Jiangnan Tower army. It's going to be a very difficult thing for him to break. Plus, he's got all of his range upgrades in as well. Whereas LucifroN, with those Macedonian upgrades, he has +2 armor on his cavalry, and just +1 attack on his... oh, actually, +3 armor on cavalry. It's quite big. And of course, the extra 5% health as well. It's quite big. But it's not the biggest Radari count in the world. And it is very scary. These units are definitely stronger than Jushi's, but they might not be enough. But he is going to be the committal here. LucifroN has to defend his food. He can't lose anymore. And it is going to be a commitment. It's actually not the worst engage in the world. Some Radari going down, but not too much. And the Archer's getting a lot of time to fire on the Spearman, which is the biggest thing. Oh my god, these crossbowmen are destroying the Radari. Even with the +3 defense coming in, LucifroN finding the best timing he can. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. The Radari's now all of a sudden standing still as his crossbows are going down. LucifroN doing a great job to target all the crossbows out of that, but it's not enough. It's the best fight he probably could have taken in that situation, but they come out still firing. This arrow slit is going to be a little bit of annoyance on this only ranged mass from Louis, but it's enough to push all the way through and off food, and that is literally the only food that LucifroN has, and he's got still half the military mass. We've got nothing. Do we even have farms coming in? We've got nothing. Absolutely nothing. He can't even go and snick the boar because he's Macedonian, and it is everything in the front here. LucifroN trying to get one Radari in the back. Hasn't got a single kill here yet. The entire army is dead. The entire eco is idle. It looks like that's probably going to be it for LucifroN. He's going to stick in here, believing in the units. I mean, you still get 3 units out from the crossbows. You still have some production with the Varangian strongholds. This is just a scout over here. The Radarius, and he gets 1. He got 1 villager kill somewhere. This one here. That's a moral victory at the very least before tapping out. And GG, we tie it up 1-1. LucifroN going down to loueMT. The power of Zhu Shi's legacy, that feudal aggression, and especially on a map like that, I think even more exacerbated. And honestly, just to go look at the remembering what they banned, Louis put forward Rus and Jushi's legacy, and LucifroN sniped out Rus, which I thought was interesting at the time, and maybe with the benefit of hindsight, LucifroN would have liked to pick differently. But in this case, so it was not meant to be for LucifroN. And GG, we go 1-1, which is what I like to see. Love these two players. All right, I'm going to use the Lou real quick, and then we'll go look at the drafts. Bear with me. But two good games off the bat. 2 very standard games, but good games nonetheless. Anyway, I will be right back, guys. 1 second. Alright. Cameo from the lovely Grace. Alright. Surely they're surely we enter the draft of the next one, yeah? Remember my hotkeys? Probably not. Alright. Okay. Oh, what's the map? Bear with. Boardland. And we're going to go straight in. Okay, so there's going to be Sengoku for LucifroN and Byzantine for Louis. A U-Bid's banned out and French banned out. French never making it through. Sengoku Byzantine. I don't know if I've seen this matchup. Let's go have a look. Alrighty. Game 3, 1-1 apiece. And going into it on Boardland, we're going to have LucifroN in the yellow on Sengoku. And in the cyan on Byzantine, it is loueMT. Going out with heaps onto stone. Okay, so Byzantine got a change recently with their cistern cost. So you can make one cistern right off the bat now. And I don't play Byzantine, so I never pay attention to how the builds change with this stuff, other than knowing that you can make a cistern right off the bat. So Twitch chat, you tell me if this is standard now, but I haven't seen this done. He's gone 5 onto stone right away. Sengoku on the other side is going to be Matsuri in the front, which feels crap, to be honest. But he's going to put it onto the gold anyway. And otherwise, that's relatively standard here with Sengoku. Buying your wood to get out your yacht. So I guess you just get all of your cisterns in right away. And then you're like, screw it, I don't have to worry about this crap anymore. I'll just get it with the passive stone you get from building stuff, and then that's job done. I've not seen that. Maybe it's a thing. Well, I mean, it's definitely a thing. Maybe it's common. Or maybe this is an innovation out of Louis or the Chinese community. Honestly, guys, if you don't like if you watch Chinese games, either like it's hard to watch them on, I guess, like tournaments or like on Bilibili. Louis streams on Bilibili all the time. But the Chinese scene is really big, really active, and they come up with so much different shit compared to all us silly English speakers. It's really cool, some of the stuff they come up with, and especially when Louis comes into tournaments or you see him on ladder, match up against people. It's cool to see some of those builds come into play. Definitely some crazy innovations. This one maybe is one. I guess we're sort of finding out together here. But it is a cool little difference, and we'll see whether this is actually what the timings are going to be on the age ups. Of course, for Byzantine in this situation, you know, you're always going to be a bit slow with the age up because you are going to prioritize your cisterns one way or the other, whichever way you figure out your macro. But you're always going to go for those early, which means you're always going to have a bit of a later age up. But against Sengoku, who are always going to prioritize their own eco bonus, their yatai, means they're also going to have a really slow age up as well. So it kind of doesn't feel bad for Byzantine, to be honest. I feel like I'd rather be in the Byzantine position than the Sengoku position. And I say that as a Sengoku player, but not a Byzantine player. And usually, usually I'm biased the other way against the civ that I don't play. But yeah, man, there's a lot of cisterns coming in a nice little line here. First 4 coming through, and it actually staying on the cistern on the stone as well, which is interesting. Normally, you see the 5th cistern just get passively from the gold you get from all the buildings you then subsequently build. But no, it is going to be securing up even the 5th one. So this is really all out here for Louis. And interestingly, looking at his spawn, he's got his first berries here, but then he's got 2 berry packs in the back under 1 cistern, which is amazing. Whereas LucifroN's got his Matsuri, his gold in the front, which he's put his Matsuri on. But on Boardland, you only get 2 wood lines, so I guess understandably why he doesn't want to put that there as well. But it's a very dangerous position to be. Now going up for the Grand Warrior. This honestly feels like Byzantine is getting everything they want. LucifroN is getting what he wants as well. But with the nerfs, it just doesn't feel as impactful for Sengoku. 5 cisterns. The 5th one coming out down here is going to cover up, I guess, the 2nd gold as well. Oh, actually, did he get a cancel? I mean, it's not super impactful anyway, but a nice little something. Scout being a little bit of a mare on the Matsuri. This doesn't make as much of a difference anymore because we have this beautiful drop off resources button, so you don't have to right click and repair for half a second. But it still is an annoying thing, and of course there's nothing else that scout's really going to be doing anyway. Well, I mean, you could be scouting the rest of the map for the relics, but other than that, and especially with these EGC maps, you kind of know where all the relics are going to be anyway, so it's not as important. Possible this is a specific build against Sengoku because their feudal is really delayed, so you can do this against them. I think so. I mean, you wouldn't do this against Mongol, right? So it's specific in the sense that you're only doing it because you're against that civ. But I do wonder if this is something that Louis would still do against some other civs that are slower in their age up. Like if you're against like a Mali or something, you know? And probably a bunch of other civs, which I can't think of right now. But it's kind of crazy to have this already set up coming into the feudal age. Now, probably most interesting to turn to LucifroN to see what the response is. 3 coming out to make the daimyo off the bat. And how many we're going to see on gold as to whether it's just going to be a straight up fast castle or whether he feels that there's damage he can do. Looking at this division again, LucifroN, he knows. I mean, as soon as he sees one of these, he sees the number 5 is there as they're all connected. So there's going to be no concern about how much Louis has committed to. It's going to be stable as well, so we might see at least a couple of Yari. And actually, we're going for double broad axe, which means we are going to stay around in feudal for a little bit. This isn't going to be an instant fast castle. So it's going to be a case for LucifroN how much damage he can get done. But of course, when you go this greedy as Byzantine, you're not going to take it for granted. You're going to want to secure up all the olive oil you can, your gold and your berries, which is basically this whole section. If LucifroN can deny this, that's fantastic. If Louis can secure this, I don't really see how LucifroN can get much done. And we talked about standard builds this series, and it's very much the same coming out of the feudal age. Not so much going into it for Louis. The barracks for the Limitsune, and then what are we going to see? We're going to see the longbows. Oh, yeah, we are going to see longbows. We clicked one and cancelled it, but there's going to be longbows coming out in the end. Power coming up for LucifroN, so playing it, I think it's actually a little bit safe, to be honest with you. And it's going to be the Yumi as well. Okay. So we're going to get... No, he's not finished it. So he's got to scout first to see what's going on. He will see the Limitsune, and I assume he is now going to finish it. He wants to see the mercenaries, I think. If the javelins... Yeah, he wants to see the mercenaries, I'm sure of it. If he sees javelins, he probably doesn't want to go into the archers. And he cancels it. So he just... Not worrying about that at all, and he prioritizes over to gold. So he's going to go fast castle, deciding against further aggression. But honestly, even just like these two Yari are going to get nothing done. The only thing that's in LucifroN's favor at the minute is that he's got all of his Yatai set up. So all 4 Yatai are going good, but he's going to be able to do exactly 0 damage at the minute. But if he can try to force an overreaction from Louis, which if we flip the vision, there's nothing here on Louis' side of things. Daimyo gets in, actually, gets a kill. Didn't see this going at all. Managed to get around the wall. That's actually very nice there from LucifroN. Nice little win. This tower's not up either, and LucifroN is going to see exactly the setup of what Louis got going on. Another kill. This Daimyo absolutely paying for himself. Well done. Yeah, actually, no 4th Yatai. Good call. And especially on this map, it's very easy to get the value out of those Yatai. So maybe a little bit of misstep. Like you can get 2 here if you put 1 on board and then you put 1 between the deer and the berries. It's probably the same down here. Yeah, it is the same down here. But doesn't have all 4 up, and it's going up with the sake brewery. Anywho, going to be under the Matsuri, so that's nice, but also tucked away under the TC. So nice positioning there, and it's going to be double stable. So we're going to see old classic here from LucifroN. It is going to be the mounted samurai. There's going to be a lot of Limitsune, and honestly, a lot of longbows. And if Louis can get himself to castle, he's going to be just fine. He hasn't overproduced. He's still just 1 barracks, 1 mercenary camp, producing Limitsune until he feels safe. But there's no way he doesn't know that the castle age is coming, just because of how few units he's seen. It's just these 2 Yari and the Daimyo. Getting the 2 kills with this many units is fantastic. That really is best case scenario for LucifroN. So a big one for him to be able to get what he wants. So both players, so far in this matchup, both players, both civs, are getting what they want, other than the 2 villages lost from Louis. But Louis's really secure, honestly. These are fantastic walls to get up. 2 berry patches in the back, which will last a long time and give you so many units. He's now going to be getting his own castle timing up, which should probably not give much of a window here for LucifroN at all. These guys are going out just to berries here. I think it makes it really tough. I think it makes it really tough for LucifroN to get much done. Oh, and Louis did see it, actually. He sees it with the scout with the group, which means that these units aren't going to be able to get in. Not that they were probably going to get much damage done anyway. First berries finish up, but there's still plenty more for Louis in the back. And the age up is about to start. I'm sure we'll see that Golden Horde tower be plopped down against whichever cistern you want, pretty much. There you go. It's going to be tucked away under the TC. We've got 5 Mounted Samurai on the field, but really, I think the only thing that LucifroN can achieve, or 2 Yari going to get through, so it's probably more scouting information than anything, is going to be their value. But the biggest thing for LucifroN is going to be trying to secure up all 5 of those relics. We'll try to keep an eye on the relic count, by the way. Actually, I forgot about sheep count as well, which is pretty even in this game. Yari, is Ekratoy going to get popped? No, not even bothering with Ekratoy. Nice little juggle there. We'll see both Yari go down for a bit of idle time, but no villager kills. 2 Mounted Samurai coming in the back, and more Mounted Samurai coming out the front. Let's get 1 kill there. Another kill here. These villages aren't locked away. There's only 2 limits in A here. This is fantastic. Pulling the attention from Louis at the perfect time. Another 2 come out. These 2 Mounted Samurai are going to go down, but honestly, I think he'll take the trade, LucifroN. This one up here is not going to be able to pick up anything. Or if they don't die and they get Ryokan heal. If they don't die, these guys have the Ryokan buff, so they are going to slowly heal out of combat. Oh my god, he doesn't have to go home. They just heal out of combat. It is really slow, that heal. They did nerf it a little bit, but it still is like... I mean, they're still going to get back to full eventually. That's huge from LucifroN. And in a situation like this, I would have thought LucifroN would get nothing. Maybe I spoke too soon, as he does run into the brace of those limits in A. His force back doesn't lose any. They weren't upgraded yet. They're still just hardened, not veteran. So only 8 damage on them, and there's 4 4 melee armor. So okay, they do basically nothing against the Mounted Samurai. But that's crazy. LucifroN's got 7 kills amongst all this and keeps getting units in, even though there's hella walls up. Louis not being able to secure this part up or this part up, as it is much harder to do it. And is getting those Mounted Samurai in the back. 1 does finally go down. Louis gets a small win there. But 7 worker kills is really big. And 14 idols at the moment too. Just this big gains. Another kill, you're kidding me. Big gains with so few units. And LucifroN actually keeping them alive. I feel like this is the kind of play we see a lot of players do or attempt that just doesn't work out. But it works out when you're as good as LucifroN. Loses another Mounted Samurai there. Probably won't lose another one here. But with the Castle Age being in for Louis, it makes it a lot more dangerous to be doing this from here on out. The longbows are upgraded, so they're actually doing more damage than the hardened limits in A. With the 9 attack at least. Oh, the Mounted Samurai being so cheeky. But being cheeky in vision. So maybe not as much. Of the relics, by the way, I think he did pick up the furthest one. Did it get back? We'll check in on that one. No, Louis picked it up. Louis picked up his one down here, actually. And is going to go for the next one, so... I mean, at least it's only the close one, so LucifroN's not going to be too worried about that, as long as he can get the other 4. But if Louis does actually get these other ones, that's quite a big win for him, considering he didn't get up to castle for quite a long time after LucifroN. But LucifroN with 8 Vil kills, maybe 9? Oh, maybe another one? Don't you dare. No, he doesn't quite get there. It's 9 kills, though. Which is, honestly, quite the win for LucifroN, especially with these, well, actually just 3 Yatai popping behind it. LucifroN not valuing getting the extra Yatai, I guess. Which is surprising. I feel like they still give you enough value to justify the just 125 wood cost. especially when the Louis, the Byzantine player, isn't on the map. Well, you kind of get them for free. See a little bit of bad luck coming in here with the Landsknechts coming onto the field rather than the longbows. If you do roll the dice well, and get a lot more longbows, it can make a big difference. loueMT need to brace, and they do, which is going to protect the longbows, but there's not too many of them. More flooding in now. Very nice from Louis to react to that. Actually, these longbows, they're tickling at best, man. 8+2. And yeah, both upgrades are in, so it's 4 damage a shot. 6 armor, 10 attack against these mounted samurai. It's better than archers, but it's not quite the same as it was as it has been previously in either feudal age with an upgrade advantage or in the imperial age when you get all the upgrades in. Farmhouse looking to come out here. What's that about? Are we going out? Looks like we are. So loueMT looking to make the most of his map control, I guess. We're headed in Yumi. And this is something you almost always see out of Sengoku, is the Castle Age Yumi with the daimyo, with the upgrades, the extra damage upgrade, means that they are a force to be reckoned with. The mounted samurai Yumi Ashigaru combo. Ooh, doesn't quite pick it up. Is going to run into the brace. Doesn't charge except for this poor one right at the end. So we'll lose 1. And it's a huge army from Louis and the Byzantine. It is just Spearman Archer, right? It is your kind of your feudal army. And we see the first of the cataphracts are getting added now. Talk about mounted samurai Yumi. But cataphract longbow is arguably an even more potent combination. Both those unit combos getting their little bit of changes over time, but only small ones. Mounted samurai cost, and of course the cataphract changes that just came through, including to their trample ability, which I thought was interesting. It is 2 relics for Louis, and then it will be 3 for loueMT if he brings in the 2 that he has on the field, which is these 2 here, which it looks like he will secure. So a 3-2 split in favor for loueMT in the relics, which I think honestly he'll take for how delayed he was to Castle Age and also being stuck inside his base. Louis sees the 1 mounted samurai run by, is hiding all these villagers, just idle off to the side. 5 villagers? What the fuck? How did I miss that? When did he kill 5 villagers? Louis killed 5 villagers at some point. And I can't observe. It's like I'm playing my own games, not looking at the minimap. It's constant mounted samurais that just continue to come in on these small gaps, which could be walled up. I don't see any reason why this can't be walled up, but Louis isn't losing too much to it, just a bit of idle time. Just the 1 cataphract on the field, still making loueMT and longbowmen. And of course, loueMT pumping out mounted samurai and Yumi Ashigaru. That mounted samurai does go down. We are now, yes, we are up on that boar. 5 villages up there, Yatai up there as well. Haven't gone to that bottom side yet, but there is the house there. I guess we were down here for a little. These must have been where they died, isn't it? So Louis picked this up. loueMT greening out, going out to both boar. And manages to get exactly 54 food. I don't even know if he got that back, to be honest with you. They might have just died within hand. It is very, very scary, I think, from the Byzantines when they get to this position. Sengoku have such good units. But sort of Byzantine feel like they scale so well when you've got, well, actually the relics are in the Grand Winery as well, so many mercenaries are going to be coming out. And once you start adding the groves, the groves were nerfed, the olive oil count, which does sort of nerf that late game biz a decent amount. And the second berry patch, or I guess the third, the 2 in the back are now running out completely, which makes things very difficult as a bit of a transition, as he'll need to add a lot of groves. So maybe there is a bit of a window for loueMT, as he does continue to have the map control, and both sacred sites, as we take a little bit of a skirmish in the front. Something Yumi likes to do is they do have that speed advantage, of course, and they just need the daimyo aura to be able to do the extra attack speed, which feels really nice picking up spearmen, but it doesn't feel very good at all if you're getting bombed on by the longbows. Mounted samurai continue to go in and out, not really doing any damage, but tanking up a lot of that fire. With the longbowman standing at the front, and that is going to be enough to push loueMT back. Definitely not wanting that full engage, whereas I think Louis would be okay with it. particularly with his limited A count still standing strong and keeping his shield wall on, which remember reduces range damage taken by 30%, even if they're a bit slower as a trade for that. There's 3 villages in here. That's quite a loss if he does get in there. Louis somehow picked up a 6th villager kill at some point. Oh, but he doesn't turn. In the Mounted Samurai, they don't attack straight away. A lot of Yumi fighting on it. If he can kill all the spearmen, it's really big for LucifroN. Lanchnik doing literally nothing in the front, but they do look super cool doing it. Mounted Samurai come back in right away. Limited turn. There's such a low count of them, and because of that shield wall, they move back so slowly, which means the fast Yumi are picking them up straight away. The longbowmen are a fantastic DPS backline, but not a frontline. A lot of low health Mounted Samurai as well, though, which if Louis can pick off is going to be a lot of damage. He's targeting them one by one, which is great for him, but there's so many on top of that now, and the longbows only shoot so fast, and they only run so fast too. These Yumi all on top of them, but the micro is going to have to be on point because the Yumi can't A-move because those cataphracts in the back are going to cause a problem. There we go, the A-move means they stop and they look at the cataphracts, which means it is just going to be the Mounted Samurai in the front. Mounted Samurai, though, are still plenty fine here. More Lanchnik coming in. Louis losing that Golden Horn Tower lottery a lot of the time. Now that actually with the longbowmen, with the Mounted Samurai being no threat on top of the longbowmen, they do a great job of trading into these Yumi. But when the Yumi fire back, they are going to be more efficient. Louis on the backside is getting a little bit in here. That one cataphract got another couple kills, 8 to 11. But now onto the villages. The garrison command means they go to the towers in the front, which is a mistake there for Louis, not the AI that he would have wanted out of that. And then these Mounted Samurai, as long as they're running rampant on the longbowmen, there's nothing to stop them. I think one limited gets in there, a little bit confused, goes backwards as well, but now getting in. Perfect single target micro there to pull onto the rest of the longbows. And these Yumi, this will get cleaned up, but this is a lot of damage, and keep an eye on these build kills here as these Yumi stay alive. Akatoy gets pulled, which means these guys are doing damage in reverse, and Textiles is in, so these guys are tanky as well, which means there's 21 kills now, but there's a lot that went down for LucifroN as well. His whole army, but importantly, he killed all of Louis' army first. Huge breakthrough there from Sengoku and LucifroN. Honestly, I wasn't sure which way that fight was going to go. I think if it was just straight up A moves, then Byzantine was going to win. But LucifroN did such a good job pulling the Levantine out with their shield wall up, baiting them out, and then getting enough shots with the Yumi, with the extra attack speed and the movement speed out of them, getting so much damage on the Levantine. And then once the count was low enough, the Mounted Samurai pounced. And as soon as they were able to clean up, well, the rest of the Levantine, but then get onto the longbows, it was just a matter of Louis falling back and trying to not lose as much. Now, we got towers coming out onto the both sacred sites. LucifroN was 6.5 on the counter. Is maybe going to look to find his win condition here. I think it's a really tough one for Louis. I don't blame him for trying to take that fight. I felt like he was in a good position. I feel like they could have gone either way. He took one of those fights in the first map on Gorge, trying against Golden Horde, and it worked out for him in one of them game. Didn't quite work out here, and now the Mounted Samurai count is huge. 9 coming in, 2 Daimyo in here. It's 4 Daimyo in total. And these Yumi are going to be able to run rampant. Actually, there's nothing at all to deal with the Mounted Samurai. And GG is called. That is enough. LucifroN takes out game 3 to go up 2-1 in the series on match point. GG from both players. I thought Louis' strategy was really good. His Dark Age was interesting, and then managed to get himself to a good position. And honestly, I think that fight could have gone either way. If we check the graphs, I mean, military-wise, it was very, very, very even. Resources-wise, so Louis was way in the lead. But I feel it's a little bit misleading when you take into account all the mercenaries that you get from the olive oil and all the extra bonuses that Byzantine get from those cisterns. But that is a much bigger eco lead than I thought it would have been. That is a much bigger eco lead. Like, even taking into account if you try to translate olive oil into unit cost, this is still a huge lead for LucifroN. And I think possibly, even if that fight didn't go as well for Lucy, even if it didn't go as well, then he still would have come out on top by what do you call it? By maxing. Maxing? Remaxing. Reinforcing. Remassing. Any of the above. Same largest army. Did you check army value? Oh, right, you're talking about in the game. Yeah, tough one, man. Really tough one. Okay. We go next. Where's draft? Alright, righty-roo. Whoops, wrong button. We're going to have... Wait, what's the map? The game just bugged. Sick. Well, we're going to have a U-bit against Lancaster. It's going to be Lipany. Because we've got a minute to wait on Observer. It's going to be Lipany. So LucifroN put forward Lancaster and Delhi. And Louis put forward Abba and a U-bit. And LucifroN snipes out Abbasid. That makes sense, I guess, if he thinks he's going to be playing Lancaster. Because I think Lancaster into Abbasid is terrible. I think they just completely outboom you and outmass you. And then sniping out Delhi again after than Lancaster makes sense. But funnily enough, did he pick it at the same time? No, LucifroN actually picked Lancaster well before Delhi. Maybe it's because Louis doesn't play Delhi. Maybe that's a little bit of a knowledge thing. I'm not sure. But interesting there. We've got 30 seconds to wait. Interesting there that it is going to be a U-bit Lancaster on Lipany. Which means that if we go to a game 5, it's going to be Dry Arabia. As we just had Borderlands, we've had Coastal and Gorge. Which would be Dry Arabia as a game 5 is sick. So excited about that one. Okay, let's jump into it. Lancaster, a U-bid. Let's go in. I'm not going to guess who's where. Here we go. As LucifroN is going to be 2-1 up, so he's on the left. Alrighty, game number 4. Spawning in on Lipany here. In the bottom left, we have in the yellow on the House of Lancaster. Opening up with the Dark Age Barracks, it is LucifroN. And in the top right, in the cyan, on the U-bits, it is loueMT. Beautiful stack there under the TC. Okay, so Dark Age Barracks coming out the bat. An interesting one, for sure, with the civilizations. Lancaster is something that I said during the draft. LucifroN actually rates. It's not a meme pick. It's not a last pick. He thinks it's good. And it generally is that 2 TC. Ideally 1 mana, but if you need extra coverage, 2 manas. And going for that boom style. Still with the Abbey normally. Although I have seen a lot of players experimenting with that Lancaster castle. And LucifroN sniped out Abbasid from Louis to get him, to force him to play a U-bit. Oh, cheeky little thing. Louis, noticing his spawn right away, knows that Dark Age Barracks is coming, and he's gone and blocked it off, which means that Spearman has to go through here, which is impossible. So that Spearman is going to have to go... Oh, and the Scout goes through, but obviously there's nothing actually under... Oh, you make up your mind, brother. Okay. Oh, he tries to wall him in. Does wall him in? No way, you can walk around that, mate. Okay, he breaks it anyway. Nice little win there, I guess, for LucifroN, and he's going to try to stop that. But, I mean, doesn't really matter, does it? That Spearman can't get there. He's just going to hang out. He's going to go home? Or is he going to go all the way around? But I don't think LucifroN would have scouted this, will he? No. So and the thing about Lipany is it spawns cliffs like fucking random. So I think if this is EGC Lipany, maybe it's a bit different. It's not quite as random as what we'd be used to playing on the ladder. But this is it can be an absolute mare with the map generation, where it gives you the cliffs and how that then subsequently forces all the resources and woodlines and the like to spawn. So it's kind of whack. But these spearmen are going to do literally nothing. There's 3 spearmen. He doesn't even want to show them LucifroN. He just wants to be like, no, I'm not making spearmen anymore. I gave up. Because he's not even trying to burn down the wall. Louis on the other side has scouted the base and then gone back on his side to get more of the sheep. Otherwise not really doing much. And most of the sheep do spawn around your TC now. So there's a lot less emphasis on scout. Bro, he's going to run through. And there's nothing under the TC, right? There's one villager here. Is he going to get through and garrison these ones? He does, but it's a little bit late. And it also doesn't make that much of a difference. So LucifroN, pretty clever. He does pull it off. Pulls it back there. Gonna get 1 working on this and 2 working on this. So getting a little bit there, but it's not the end of the world there for Louis. Going with a growth wing actually to get a few extra villages. So you give like 3? Yeah, 3 villages and your orchards get more food. And yep, okay, so Louis has just not finished off his berries, leaving a little bit on them so that when the orchards come through, it'll buff them with a bit extra food. It's a kind of annoying micromanagement, but good nonetheless. Pulling off this, actually deciding, well, this is giving me 0 value to kill. Let me aim for the wall instead. And with the health on it, it's probably doable, as there was no military wing coming through, of course. On the flip side, yep, we do see, as expected, out of Lucy is going to be the Abbey of Kings, and then plenty onto stone. No, 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 no. Silly goose. Even pros are human. Didn't finish the mining camp in time, so these 2 geniuses go off to the other one. A little bit of inefficiency, but not the end of the world. And yeah, going up with 3 here. So we'll see how much stone LucifroN collects. Oh. Did he just go and kill one with a villager? And succeed? Somehow amongst that, by the way, LucifroN... Oh no, he got more sheep because of Lancaster. It does count in that statistic. This Phil walking around to then get the repair in, which is again pretty clever from Louis, but it is actually some decent idle time, to be honest, from LucifroN, so I don't think he's going to be too upset with this. As long as it's not a trade for nothing, it never feels too bad. And it's going to be straight into the archery range to push back these spearmen at the least. And potentially even desert raiders as well afterwards. Plenty of scouting at the front here from Louis, and he is on top of the stone as well, which means he's going to be able to see... Ooh, Louis is going to be able to see just how much stone LucifroN is pulling in. He knows already immediately that it is a 2-town center, not just manors. And Louis goes straight out onto the gold there, but actually goes onto gold not before pushing, or before pushing these away. So LucifroN knows. Ooh, scout getting baited, but it won't die. So now LucifroN also knows that the fast castle is going to come in. So it's going to be 2 TC into fast castle. Who wins? I don't know. This is not a matchup you typically see, to be honest. But one that definitely I think LucifroN will feel confident with. And it's, you know, it's match point. If LucifroN can win this, that's the series. But if he loses it, we will go to a game 5. The growth wing is like a nice to have, I feel. And especially when you are fast casting, you get a little bit extra food from the berries, so you don't have to go out. But it doesn't feel like the greatest in the world for a U-bid. And it's going to be completely naked, actually. I guess that's why we prioritize these walls so much. Second TC is now in. Pretty nice spot, actually. We've got the wood line, we've got deer, and we've got berries. Why are the deer and the berries so close to each other? I didn't even know they could spawn that close. And then we got the huge stone there as well. If that simply wasn't enough. 1 mana coming in, and then yeah, we've got no more stone than that. So it is just going to be that. But of course, LucifroN could at any point go onto more stone and get a second mana around his second TC. But ultimately, pretty decent spawning situation for him as well. But as we see, the logistics wings start to come in now. There's still plenty of time. 1, before LucifroN is going to be able to get his own age up. And 2, before this 2TC even starts to pay itself off. So it's going to be a decent window. The Lord of Lancaster doing the absolute marathon to get around. But he does make it onto the gold. And it's just with 1 archer. It's not going to be able to push it back. We'll push back the spearman. But you see the damage that the Lord does. And this is nerfed, by the way. 14 now. Louis? He's going to chase it. If he gets the charge. No, no charge. Louis is able to pull it away in time. A lot of damage on these villas, and yes, it will push them away. Pretty decent micro from both, but ultimately LucifroN does get his win. And as the age up comes through with logistics, still ages away. It does take so long for you, but it's going to be the stables. And actually, we're going to have stone. be the call here from Louis. Interestingly enough. Perhaps worried about the 2TC, but also feeling like there's going to be no aggression out of LucifroN for a long time. So his own second town center could be on the cards. But also favoring the logistics wing to go and get the relics quickly, rather than the industry wing to go get that 2TC quickly. The scout is literally going to go for the villager kill and forces those three to go home, and they'll stay home, those ones. LucifroN, in the meantime, once he's done with this wolf, will look to wall up these two relics, and presumably might go for the third one as well. Pretty much all of the EGC maps spawn in such a way where... Oh my god. This is like just tilting across the board, man, no matter which player you are. Most of the EGC maps kind of spawn like you get one close relic and then the three are in the middle that are contestable, which is very much the case here. The scout's on stand defense and then it stops standing and dies. So now LucifroN, I mean, he got all the information. I don't think there's it's too big of a deal. Louis staying on stone? No, he's going to pull. Either stay there a little bit long or just forgetting that TCs are cheaper now. Either one. But it's going to get that second TC in the front as well, onto the deer. This Phil is stuck inside, which sucks. But he can make a gate if he wants to, or he can just hang out. Oh my gosh, is this Dervish actually going to get away? These are only like Dark Age Spearmen. Which have the same look as Feudal Age Spearmen, because English don't have Dark Age Spearmen. And they take the models from English. Oh, the poor villager getting killed through the wall. He's going to see it. He does. Good job, LucifroN. Sees it, pulls it away. We see another relic get picked up. That's the second one coming in now on the top side. Hey. Oh, Queen. Thank you. Love you. Appreciate you. How much longer do I have? Now? Yeah. Got it. Love you, Chris. Sorry? Oh, I've got it. Thanks. Chris is a legend. Sorry, I missed something. Chris bought me a beer. We're going out to a local beer festival after this set. I might start the next set as well, but I'll be stopping within an hour. 4 more relics coming in, or the 2 more relics coming in to make it 4 for Louis, which means we're just fighting over this one. But what a fight it is. This villager has been so valiant, but does finally go down. The spearman trying to be a hero as well, but will not be able to get anything done. It was a white tower. That was the choice in the end. Under the TC as well, interestingly enough. There's no mana under this one either. It's just a normal ass house. So it's just a one mana, but the white tower is of course up. And it looks like Louis will secure this up. So being able to secure 5 relics and getting a later TC, only being behind like 6 villages, I mean, it's going to feel pretty good for Louis, I think. And this is something, if you're looking to like take tips for back home, by the way, if you're up against a 2TC player that's going just pure 2TC fast castle with no units, getting fast castle yourself and then getting a second TC is pretty equivalent. And it's much better if you can actually get all the relics in. And by all the relics, I mean like 4. Getting 5 is amazing. What a time to be alive. So he's going to pick it up. 5 in the bank. Poor thing's got nowhere to put him. And not enough wood to make a second mosque. No, it is going to come through now. Alright, what are our compositions? So a bunch of crossbowmen coming through for Louis with camel lancers at the start. And then we are going to get Earl's Guard crossbowmen actually from LucifroN. So not worrying about the spearmen, is going to prioritize Earl's Guard. So interesting choice there. Seen a little bit more men-at-arms play, full stop, since the change. Since they got their food cost reduced from 100 to 90. Which is interesting, because I was really on the fence as to whether that was going to make a difference. Oh, Hovelar also getting queued up, by the way. So a little bit of everything, to be honest, from LucifroN, or would be if he wasn't housed right now. No, he does get the house in. Still just the 1 mana, though. Golden Age Tier 2 is in for Louis. And this has got to be the least action-packed game we've had this series. Both players definitely wanting to play safe, play for their economy. But I feel like it's kind of playing into Louis' hands a bit, man. But clearly, LucifroN and Vortex, they both rank Lancaster highly. LucifroN has been picking it. I've actually not seen many of Vortex's games last week, so I'm not sure if he was picking it as well. Billman upgrade is going to come in for the Spearman of LucifroN. But they clearly see something in House of Lancaster, and I'm sure they don't see it in that early game from them, is considering they're opting for that 2TC play. A villager decapping the sacred site. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. Love this music, by the way. Is this English music? I don't want to crank it. These crossbows doing a lot of damage here. No upgrades though from Louis at all. Let's not make the same mistake as game one. And these things, oh, they die quick. The camel lancers die quick. But actually, the crossbows are standing and fighting a little bit. 5 villagers, they're a little bit slow to run, but they are running now. And it looks like they will all get away. Nothing there yet. LucifroN's still yet to pick up his own villager kill. Whereas 3 have gone over in the favor of Louis. One of those actually over here, the one that was trying to decap the sacred site. That poor soul. Absolute suicide mission. This small wall, which has been the hero of the game so far for Louis, is looking to go down by LucifroN, taking his vengeance out on the wood. But Louis is still pretty safe inside his base. Definitely has that military disadvantage, but plenty healthy crossbow count, and especially with the healing as well, feels comfortable to be able to take these fights, but doesn't have a lot to deal with, at least at the moment, deal with these hobbler of all things, funnily enough. The camel lancer count isn't that high, and actually Gulams and Spearmen is going to be the call. So a big infantry fight here, or infantry army here from Louis, whereas there's going to be a lot of hobblers and crossbowmen out of LucifroN. The second mosque goes down. There's 2 of the relics, which are now doing literally nothing. Just sitting there. But he's still got 3 in the bank, which is feel pretty good for Louis. We'll quickly look at the raid there. Just 1 camel lancer, but it will get a little bit of damage. 5 villager kills. We'll keep an eye on that number in the bottom left. But the big fight is what we need to keep an eye on for now. Dervish is doing some healing, but it is slow healing. Keep that in mind. The Relic's getting pulled to pull the Wallow, and these units will have to move back. But they've got a little bit of time before they move back. Oh, no, they don't need to worry about it if you just snipe them out there. Very nice from LucifroN. But his army is eventually going to go down here. Are these upgraded? No, hardened spearmen. These are only feudal age spearmen. But the army is eventually going to go down. Although LucifroN he's reinforcing across the map. There's a lot of units fighting through, and it's hobbler and crossbowmen. But with this now spearman crossbowman army coming out of Louis, he has held, and behind all that, not only has he held, but he killed, was that 4 extra villagers there, going up to 9 vill kills. And now, despite getting the second TC a lot later than LucifroN, he's sitting on, well, it will be 5 relics once they all get tucked away nicely into their homes. He's got more villagers and the relic count on to LucifroN, who's running 1 mana, which let's see how much is covering. Actually, this mana's not doing a terrible job. Actually, it's going to just stop covering those, isn't it? But it is still on the gold. So LucifroN's kind of needing to make something happen here. Louis has got most of his upgrades in now. Although, no range defense, only melee. And he is against crossbowmen. Gets in again, 3 more build kills that I missed because I'm shit. But he does get the horseman in reply that really doesn't do anything. Oh, it does get the scarp. This thing's a fucking cannon. Those camel lancers will go away, but as long as they're back there, they're annoying. And this town center's not even producing. This town center's not even producing. What's our idle time? Hello? Did anyone notice this? LucifroN coming in down the guts, but some of these units are going to get caught up on the buildings. It is quite difficult here to micro the situation, especially with crossbows where you're going to really want to right-click the units. And there are spearmen in here. Are they upgraded? No, the spearmen still aren't upgraded from Louis. Hardened spearmen only. Nice wallow here to push some back. Isn't going to kill it, but isn't going to convert any of the units. And nope, it's not enough. He loses too much. No eco. Loses the military. And you don't even need Castle Age spearmen. Louis takes the game 2-2. We go to a game 5. GG. Very well played. All right, I'm going to do this last game. We're going to finish this set, and then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to call it now rather than trying to sneak more time. But we are going to finish this series. Looking at the eco. Okay, so obviously Oh, actually, no. Louis does take a hit in food and wood. But he takes it... Bro, what the hell? I don't see it. I don't see... Relics catching 7. It was 5, but he took them multiple times. I don't see the Lancaster thing, man. I don't see it. What am I missing? What is it about Lancaster that's good? I don't see it. I guess I need to look at least one game that they win. Maybe that'll tell me. Alright, let's go have a look. Last game, which we know is going to be Dry Arabia. And French getting sniped out again from Louis, and also not looking to play that Delhi French type matchup. So it is going to be Delhi against Abbasid, which does actually feel pretty good for Delhi, I think. But Abbasid, they got some changes, man. And I think new Abbasid's got some chances. I've not seen it enough to be able to make a confident call. But on Dry Arabia in particular, I think it's probably a bit tougher for Abba. But I think it is a civ that also suits Louis' playstyle. So actually, Delhi's suits Lucy too. So this is definitely one that can go either way, I think. A good one to end it on. Dry Arabia and in a battle of styles. Okay, we got a little bit of just a minute and a half of observation time. Observer delay is what I mean. As we go into a very exciting game 5. It's a good set, man. I'm really glad to see Louis playing so strong. I think last week, not that he played bad. I don't think Louis played bad, but I think it wasn't quite up to his standards. And I think LucifroN also was dropping some games where he wouldn't normally, maybe going a bit greedy sometimes. Just not having the same like reactions to things that some of the other players had. Like some of like Beastie's games, for example, I thought Beastie was playing fantastic, where he was just making the right read time and time again, to the point where the games were really, really clean. It just wasn't quite the case for either LucifroN or Louis. The Louis coming back off a competitive hiatus. He was still playing the game. I think people sometimes think that he wasn't playing. He was still playing, he just wasn't competing. And of course it was Red Bull Wallow and Homestead, so 2 big LAN events, which is a long way to go. And then that he didn't participate in, and now coming in for EGC, it's a little bit of rust, I think, but there is no substitute for competitive environment. But I think probably last week shook it off. He looks like he's up to scratch today, and LucifroN obviously no slouch, Homestead Cup finalist, and one of the best players in the scene, and certainly a favorite of mine as well. All right, here we go. Game 5, the final game in our best of 5. One of these players is going to win. And those 2 players are, in the top of the map, on the Delhi Sultanate in yellow, we have LucifroN. And in the bottom of the map, in the cyan, on Abbasid Dynasty, recently reworked a little bit, it is Louis. All right, so game 5, we've got Dry Arabia, and we've got 2 old school civilizations, man. We're duking it out. Abbasid typically still play that very eco style, even if you're going the new admin wing, which I still don't really understand exactly how it works. So we might be looking at that as we go through the game here. If he goes into it, if he doesn't, then we're going to forget it exists. But eco wing, definitely the more typical playstyle, and then of course the admin wing is the new boy on the block, and the military wing is still a style that we see somewhat frequently out of our more aggressive players like an MSN. But it's not always the case that it's desirable. It's a lot more matchup dependent, map dependent, and for what you want to try to achieve with that extra bit of aggression that those free units coming out right away gives you. Delhi is a civ that also has had their changes. Since last we really saw them in competitive play, the Tower of Victory got buffed. So not only does it give you more attack speed now, so it got fixed because it was previously giving you less attack speed than it was supposed to. And then it got buffed so it gives you more attack speed. And it's now a blacksmith, which helps for Delhi in particular because you get those upgrades for free. So you can start turning those on, getting those researchers going right away. Which particularly is important when you go for Tower of Victory, because of course, you don't have as many scholars with that Dome of Faith, so you're not going to have the research timing. And of course, you don't really want to commit into going like double blacksmith early because it's a lot of wood and it slows down your tempo. And tempo is also important for the deli. Anything spawn important? Spawn important? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that one. Berries in the front, but first berry is not that big of a deal as you're going to get through those right away. Deer and berries in the back and gold in the back for Louis. Second gold in the back as well. Second berries and gold in the back as well for LucifroN. But that's kind of about it. His gold sits in the front, but not the biggest deal for Delhi. All three sacred sites are kind of hugging the right side of the map, which is interesting. For better or for worse, making the map a little bit less spread out when it comes to trying to take and retain those, which is, of course, is important for the Delhi, as once you get that sanctity in, you are going to want to capture those sacred sites. It makes such a big difference, and it is going to be Tower of Victory, and it is going to be Military Wing. Okay, so Tower of Victory, it gives you now 20% attack speed of infantry when produced in the influence, and that is up from 15% and up from a fix, and it acts as a blacksmith. So big buffs. So this is like, we used to see Delhi of old go Tower of Victory before the bug, and obviously before the buff. And the biggest thing with that was the archers, man. The archer attack speed is just crazy. And particularly playing against Abbasid, which don't have any extra, like, powerful feudal units other than Camel Archer, which is not going to do very well against mass archers, does make things a little bit dicey, I think, for Abbasid. With Military Wing, we'll see if this is just to put a bit of aggression on. And actually, I was going to say, are we still going to go 2TC? But if we were going to go 2TC, I think we would have already seen a rollout onto the stone, which we haven't. So we see the units come in, 2 spearmen, 2 archers. We're going to run across the map. But Lucy's already pulled off gold entirely. All the upgrades now coming through. We're going to try to get through to Sanctity now coming in, but it's still 2 minutes, 40 seconds away. But look at this, blacksmith upgrades coming out of the Tower of Victory. And we're soon going to see some production come down and all those units start to come out. So Stable's going to come out first for those Ghazi. And it doesn't need to be under, or it is within influence, right? I forget that it spreads its influence, but it doesn't affect them. It just affects the attack speed of infantry. So it does affect spearmen as well, but archers are the ones that you're really looking to speed up. As if you've played against Abbasid composite bows, you know attack speed on archers is an absolute nightmare. And it's a really big nightmare in Feudal Age, where the army counts can make all the difference in winning or losing these fights. We take one of the scholars to go into the mosque, so we want to pump out those Ghazi right away. And these units are going to force back the Berry villagers. Half a beer is obviously gone to my head already, which I'm going to have to pull back off of the berries, but we're going to have a look at the sheep. Yeah, we've still got heaps. So 10 sheep are still yet to be slain, even though we can't really like see. Oh, there they are. See their silhouettes there. So there's still plenty of food there. Don't be misled by the lack of carcass. Ah, archery range getting made. I was about to say it's not an influence, but I just literally just talked about how it is. Archery range should be coming up, so Ghazi archer comp is definitely going to be the case. And honestly, if you get all the upgrades and you have enough archers, you destroy even horsemen. But I'm sure he probably will add a barracks to deal with those as well. On the flip side, speaking about horsemen, double racks? So knowing that, okay, Siege Tower Victory knows it's going to be archers on the table, I need a huge horseman mass to deal with that. And it's, I mean, 100%. I also talked earlier about like Chinese players and their love of horsemen. I think regardless, this is the play you have to go as Louis. He knows if he doesn't play feudal, he's donezo. And if he doesn't play, if he doesn't get the horseman count on top of the archers, he's also donezo. So, very smart call, I think, from, well, basically both our players in terms of the strategies they're going for. They both not only make sense, but seek to serve a long-term purpose. Sheep count ended up pretty even. We'll tuck that away. Ghazi are nice and strong, though. I think Ghazi, as far as unique horsemen go, can kind of feel like, oh, they've just got that heavy bonus. But they do a lot of work, man. They got the extra health, extra damage full stop, right? And but the armor's the same, speed's the same, yeah. It does make a difference. It does make a difference, especially in that feudal age. Archers are now coming through for LucifroN, not putting the scholar in there. And actually, this scholar, we're not producing horsemen either. So it probably should be sitting in the mosque, but is what it is. Louis just massing horsemen, and I think honestly, if LucifroN can't get a big enough mass, he's not going to be able to move outside of his base. And if his food runs dry, he's in deep doo-doo. We talk about like old styles of Delhi playing this Tower of Victory style. The way that you bit Delhi when they played that style in the past was you played into the feudal game with them, but you denied them food. They have to go on the map, Delhi. They have to. And if you stop them from doing that, if you stop being able to get on these berries, or any of the deer, and actually these deer both in front. Holy shit. These deer are so far away from LucifroN. It's really tough as a Delhi player. If you have to make a farm, you're done. And Abbasid, I mean, it's 1 TC, but they still have plenty of eco with the Golden Age, and it feels very strong. But the thing with Abbasid in this situation as well is that they're going to need to be on the map for food. So extended feudal means having to play onto the map for food, and that is where the danger is going to be. But it also plays more so into Louis' hands playing mass horsemen, because they've obviously got the mobility, right? And that mobility is going to allow them to be able to get in and do damage. But if we learned anything from last game, from the Byzantine Sengoku game, is that LucifroN can do some work finding damage. He doesn't need a big opening. He just needs the smallest little thing. But this is a nice little opening that Louis finds. No, but just getting a little bit of idle time, I guess. Not a lot of effort there done. LucifroN, honestly, he can just sort of camp this food. He knows he's going to have to go there eventually. These berries are almost done. We do a little bit of a sheep check. Looking at Louis first. 5 sheep left to kill, 3 carcass. Look at LucifroN. 2 sheep left to kill, 3 carcass. Actually, the Ghazi dive gets 1 kill and is going to move away. Every kill is very big in this situation and completely denies the wall, by the way. This villager is going to try to get out there, and I think LucifroN might see this, which is going to give him the intel if he... Yep, he is going to know. I'm sure he knows that's for a wall, even if he won't see the extent of it building. Nope, he sees it building. He knows exactly what's happening. And now the numbers are starting to kind of get out of control. Even though with all of these horsemen, it is the case that LucifroN is going mostly Ghazi, and then Spearman is probably going to be a bit of a priority. But also, those Spearmen do attack faster. The attack speed does apply to them. So they're going to do blah, 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 blah. They attack every 1.56 seconds. And where are your Spearmen, sir? Hello? Don't make me look like an idiot, please. 1.88 they attack. So one attack every 1.88 seconds. Which, when you're fighting horsemen spear into each other, it does make a big difference. The DPS damage that spears do to horsemen or to Ghazi in this stage of the game is really significant. I was going to say, don't be too fooled by military count, as scholars do contribute to it. But there's actually only 2 scholars here for LucifroN. So it's not really playing much at all into the case. And we got 2. Okay, we talked about food being important. Yeah, 100%. Pause. We do have a little bit of a skirmish here. Archer's picking off the spearmen. There's so many horsemen for Louis, though. But the army count theoretically does favor LucifroN. The horsemen are all over the archers, though. And there's only a handful of spearmen here. These horsemen are not dying super quick. The spearmen are... Well, actually doing a pretty good job at the top. The archer count is all going down, actually. LucifroN is cleaning all of it up. And actually, with the spearmen, they just don't go down. The archer count dies so fast. I thought the spearmen were perhaps going to be in trouble. But no, they clean up so easily. And even though Abbasid had the initial military lead, maybe like 3 minutes ago, now it's just ballooning out of control for LucifroN. And honestly, that's probably game. Not wanting to call a series too early. But as it stands, being able to get back against a Delhi that's winning this hard in Feudal Age, I mean, you're going to get all 3 sacred sites up now. You're going to be able to pressure the food from Louis. You don't need to give 2 shits about the gold. You just got to go pressure the food from Louis. And if you can deny that, that is literally all she wrote. Louis has to reinvest. He's got to go horseman, archer. He needs so many archers to deal with a spear, but there's not really much chance for him to be able to get on top of them. And this horseman mass is not going to be able to do that much as well. I mean, maybe turning to raiding could be a call if he didn't have a huge army of LucifroN knocking on the door of his food. And we saw LucifroN's units in here earlier, so he knows exactly where all the food is. You would think tucked away safely at the back of the base, but no. Just in the back of the base. Not safely at all. The arch, the spearmen now coming in. Honestly, if the spearmen can be tanked for by the Ghazi, even if all the Ghazi die, it doesn't matter. The archers are taking the archers even now because there's no spearmen to deal with, which means nothing from Louis can deal with the archers, and it's going to be an absolute cleanup, and LucifroN is going to take the series 3-2 with a very clean Delhi game. And I think just like we thought with the trick up the sleeve of Delhi. Unfortunately, there was also no trick up the sleeve with Abbasid. But the Delhi Tower victory is powerful after all, eh? Good to see it in a game, as the only games I saw from it last week were actually sniped out and Delhi wasn't allowed to be played. But that was the Delhi of old, but the Delhi of old buffed with an even faster tower victory that doubles as a blacksmith. If we take a look at the eco stats, LucifroN with edging ahead in food, edging behind in wood, and behind in gold. But honestly, who gives a shit when your research is free and you have an insane military count? And that army, especially with the tower victory on the spears and the archer, that extra attack speed is so strong. And just taking a straight up fight, it just wasn't enough for poor old Louis. I don't blame him for taking it, man. You got to take it at some point. But a game not decided on eco at all. A game decided on military. You love to see it. Really tough one. I admire the play there from Louis, but not meant to be, not meant to be. All right. That's gone. Are we going to see Beastie and LucifroN? Not from me. I'm sorry, brother. I have to go out. I'm going to a beer festival. This is me getting started. In about an hour. So I don't have time to do the next set. But I want to go have a look at the results. Even for my own interest. And then we will sign off. I would like to do more. I hope to be on tomorrow to do more. But unfortunately, not to do today. Okay, so B and Numidan is on the mainstream is 1-1. Ooh, Numidan, bro. I think Numidan's playing great. What's the demo Kiljadi score? 2-1? The Kiljadi? And now they're on Arabia? Alright, fuck it, guys. I'm gonna watch the rest of this one. Grace will understand. Sorry, guys. I'm not leaving. Too sad. Beer festival sounds like a good reason to have fun. Alright, I want to watch the end of this, but then I'm getting out of here. So what's the score? 2-1 to Kiljadi, right? I have to get up to live. Oops. They're apparently 12 minutes in. So very early doors. I'll do the title. But I'm not gonna be here long. I got maybe like 30 minutes, so we'll see how this goes. Okay. So we got Golden Horde for demo. And then Kiljadi on French. Anything different? Anything different? Anything different? Just keep an eye out for if anyone does something crazy. Okay, Khan and Torgut's opening barracks first. Makes sense. We're gonna go straight into School of Cavalry and Archery range. Are we pro scouting? No, but we are getting upgrades. Whereas for Demu... Why is Demu with archers? Normally you don't make archers in this matchup. Maybe he's cooking something that I don't know, but he's making a lot of them. Normally you just go Torgood Spear and then you can add Keshiks or Horseman. Kills the second Uvu. Knocking on the door. Huge fight actually, which Kiljadi wipes. Chivalry's in as well, which makes this really scary. Kiljadi might just win this here and now. Did I not get up to speed? Did I waste my time? This game's over, right? I thought it was live. Oh, he's done. He's done. There's no way. This is it. Sorry guys, I've wasted your time. GG. Okay. Well, I even changed the title. Kiljadi 3-1. That was definitely the last game, right? I'm not losing my mind. Sorry about that, guys. This is the these are the games. If you don't want spoilers, look away. Dude, I really like Kiljadi, man. I like Demu as well. And I share a name with Demu. So there's some camaraderie there. But damn, dude. Kiljadi coming in clutch. Good on him. I think Demu won last series they played as well, so that's awesome. LucifroN over and then B Numadan going on. LucifroN did beat Louis, what we saw in Anatand. Actually, Voldemar getting a game back on Anatand. What did he win? Delhi against Roos on Hill and Dale. Hill and Dale. Interesting. Mad respect. Alright, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry I couldn't do more, but I do appreciate all you guys, man. Some new names here as well, which is awesome. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you feel like the casting is shit, always feel free to let me know. And especially if there's stuff like audio or anything like that. I always appreciate that kind of stuff. Anyway, Celtic, mate, thank you so much. Appreciate all you guys. Go enjoy watching the rest of AGC wherever you watch it. And yeah, hopefully I'll be on tomorrow and you can see some of you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your days. Bye.